Hi everybody and welcome to Tuesday's TNT. I'm glad to say that the rain has abated, at least for a little while today, and we've got a snip of sunshine. And thank you very much to YouTube, who once again demonetized me, even though I did everything I could to try and avoid saying the C. In fact, I didn't say the C word. I replaced it with the word broccoli. So I don't know what all the health programs are doing promoting broccoli. Trying to get kids to eat it. Are they being demonetized as well? Anyway, we move on to a follow-up to a story yesterday, and the story in the BangkokPost.com com koi on diesel excise tax cut. So we mentioned yesterday how the tax cut had reduced the cost of diesel at the pumps by about 5 baht per litre, which is quite a lot. And that it helped keep the cost down across the board for all sorts of things like food and anything else that's delivered by a diesel truck. And the finance minister, well, he's actually the caretaker finance minister, has refused to take a stance on whether the diesel excise tax cut needs to be extended, saying it depends on global oil prices. Well, he's sort of right, but he's also unlikely to be the finance minister by the time that July 20 date comes around to renew it or not. The cabinet of the outgoing Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha extended the excise tax cut on diesel of 5 baht per litre until July the 20th to help ease the cost of living. Mr. Arkom said, "When that day arrives, let's discuss the issue again as the global oil price is now falling." He's probably going to be on a plane to Europe or somewhere else at that time. And as a bit of explanation, the measure contributes to decreased consumer prices, especially for fuel and transport costs. However, other factors must be considered, including global oil prices and the State Oil Fuel Fund, which has a loan framework to enhance the liquidity of the fund. So they've been digging into that over the past 2 years. I think they've way overspent it so far. But a comment came in yesterday which gave me a little bit of a wry smile, and this was from Kimmy's World Wonder. He said, "Why extend the diesel subsidising? So cheap Chinese crap can be dropped at your home for 15 baht? Well, it's not just those things, it's all the other things that are delivered by diesel trucks, including other fuel, including food, and just all the things that make the economy go around." And he finishes by saying, "If it concerns budget approval or the appointment of government officials which are tied to a new government, this may require the approval of the Election Commission of Thailand." In other words, they're just kicking the can down the road. Nobody wants to be responsible for making that decision. So my bet is that excise fuel cut will probably end on July the 20th unless somebody can step in and do something about it. Moving on to a story now by The Nation. Alleged Jimmy Slice killer back in Thailand to face charges. Well, this takes me back to February last year when there was a Canadian of Indian origin living in Rawai, which is right in the south of Phuket, and there were 2 Canadian hitmen who were sent to, dispose of him. Didn't do a particularly good job because they were all caught on CCTV camera. Not only that, they were wearing flip-flops, sandals, when they were tracking him down, making quite a lot of noise. And they were dressed in white, which is sort of not the colour that you'd usually wear if you're trying to do something quietly and not being noticed at night time. There you can see them in their flip-flops and in their white hoodies. Anyway, a Canadian national wanted for the alleged murder of Indian gangster Jimmy Slice Sandhu in Phuket last year was brought back to Thailand to face charges. Not only brought back, but under extremely tight security. Matthew Dupre arrived on Sunday night in a Royal Thai Air Force flight escorted by 10 commandos from the CSD and 30 members of the Royal Thai Air Force Special Operations Unit. But all that tight security didn't end. When the plane landed, the Central Investigation Bureau chief dispatched another team of 30 CST commandos to escort Dupre from the airport to the CST headquarters. He's now under the supervision of the Central Investigation Bureau. So an incredible amount of security for this Canadian hitman. Let's just get a bit of background on the story. Dupré and an accomplice are accused of shooting and killing Sandhu in front of his beachfront rented villa in Phuket's Rawai at 10:30 p.m. on February the 4th last year. Police later identified the alleged gunman from security camera footage and learned that he was an internationally notorious contract killer living in Canada. And the victim, Jimmy Sandhu, was living in Canada before he came to Phuket. He was involved in bikie gangs and crime as well. Investigators from Geelong Police Station then obtained an arrest warrant against the suspect on February the 11th, but learned that he and his alleged accomplice had flown out of Thailand 2 days after the murder. The Phuket court issued a warrant for both suspects on a charge of premeditated murder, possession of guns and ammunition, and carrying and using weapons in public. So there were two hitmen. What happened to the other? So I refer to an article that I wrote last year at the time, and it says alleged hitman in Phuket murder of Jimmy Sandhu dies in a plane crash in Canada, and a fugitive wanted in relation to the assassination of a suspected gang member in Phuket has died in a plane crash in Canada. 36-year-old Jean Lacambe was among 4 people who died when the small plane in which he was travelling crashed in Ontario, according to a Vancouver Sun report. And Lacambe had been on the run since February, managing to flee Thailand with co-accused Matthew Dupré, following the murder of Indian-Canadian gang member Jimmy Sandhu. So Matthew Dupré, now in Thailand under extremely tight security, will probably be brought down to stand trial at the Phuket Provincial Court. Big thanks to our sponsors, 5 Star Marine. If you'd like to head out on a VIP charter tour off the island of Phuket, we've got a special deal for TNT viewers. There's a link in the description underneath. Click on that and you can find out all about it. Tuesday's TNT program got the cats running amok at the moment. Anything could happen, so watch out if a cat suddenly appears on the desk. ThaiPBSWorld.com reporting that the residential market slows. New stimulus packages awaited. That really good English? Not particularly sure. Despite slowing inflation, the residential market in the first few months of 2023 has been sluggish. Overall, the housing demand in Thailand has dropped and consumer purchasing power remains weak, although the sector is hoping to benefit from new government policies. And leading property website DD Property says higher interest rates are the main barrier for some home buyers, resulting in a 2% decline in housing demand in the second quarter of this year. And the general manager of Think of Living and DD Property said that consumer interest in home buying, especially among the middle to lower brackets, might decline due to uncertain economic trends. He said the unfavourable factors include higher interest rates, an increase in expenses related to home purchase, and stricter criteria for approving loans. These would increase their burden, so home buyers may need to review their financial readiness and plan ahead to cope with the financial requirements. However, DD Property noted that compared to the pre-pandemic period, single houses are showing growth with a 6% increase in the price index, while townhouses have decreased by 5% and condominiums by 20%. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're a foreigner, just don't buy property in Thailand. It's just far too risky. If you're a Thai, just be aware that the markets do fluctuate. They don't always go up. And property consultant CBRE Thailand says domestic buyers showed a preference for low-rise housing, preferring low density, larger and more adaptable spaces. Responding to the trend, CBRE foresees developers would this year be more active in launching low-rise projects that targeted real demand. Okay, time for a quick update on the formation of the new government in Thailand following the May 14 election. The horse trading, the negotiations continue. The only winners out of the situation at the moment are the telcos because those phones would be running hot. The BangkokPost.com reports court may act on Pita share issue. The Constitutional Court may suspend the Move Forward Party leader Pita if it agrees to hear the case involving his media share ownership. This is according to the Deputy PM, or the caretaker Deputy PM Wisanu Kriyanam, and the Election Commission has begun its probe into whether Mr Pita, who's the party's list MP and Prime Ministerial candidate, was eligible to run in the election due to his alleged holding of 42,000 shares in a media company. Well, actually a defunct media company, and even if they agreed to hear his case, he may be suspended whilst they're hearing the case. And the same Wisanu Kriyanam's reported in nationthailand.com, saying Wisanu plays down battle over House Speaker, says it's ceremonial. So be aware that the two leading coalition partners are battling over who is going to be appointed the House Speaker. And the post of Parliament President and House Speaker are not as powerful as claimed by prospective partners of the next coalition, according to the outgoing Deputy PM Wisanu Kriyanam. Wisanu, who's a legal expert, he's been a veteran of politics since the early 2000s, even served in the Thaksin government. Well, he said on Monday the House Speaker, who's also the ex officio Parliament President, will have to abide by meeting rules. The Speaker's also required to maintain neutrality instead of pushing for a particular party's policy. I would have thought by having one of your MPs serving as the parliamentary speaker, you're basically losing a vote. So I'm not sure why they're all so keen to get the particular post, unless they just like the name of parliamentary speaker. Move Forward and Pheu Thai, both leading members of the prospective coalition, have been publicly squabbling over the post of House Speaker. Move Forward says it wants the post to push for the enactment of bills it's promised voters. Pheu Thai, meanwhile, is arguing that Move Forward has not won enough House seats to take all top executive and legislative branches of government. So today there's going to be a big meeting with all the coalition partners and stakeholders sitting down to decide this and other issues. And then it's time for the joint sitting of Parliament, I suppose sometime in July, when the votes will be taken and we'll all know the future of the Thai Parliament. One thing that Pita promised, let's go to that. This covered in thaipbsworld.com. Pita promises equal marriage law before Thailand hosts World Pride in 2028. And the Move Forward Party leader has assured members of the LGBTQ community that his party will push for the promulgation of an equal marriage law before Thailand hosts the World Pride event in 2028. He offered his assurance as he attended a public campaign at the Bangkok Art and Culture Centre yesterday to promote the Bangkok Pride 2023 event scheduled to take place on June the 4th. And the Equal Marriage Bill is one of 45 that the Move Forward Party has incorporated in the Memorandum of Understanding recently signed by the 8 coalition parties to be pushed through Parliament by his government. And as we mentioned before the end of this year, there would be some Civil Partnership Act pushed through Parliament before some sort of Marriage Act change in subsequent years here in Thailand. And just finally, nationthailand.com reports Move Forward will fail in its bid to form government, predicts Prawit's aide. On a daily basis, I go from, they'll probably pull this off to, they don't have a chance. Today, I'm probably feeling a bit deflated about the possibilities of this coalition actually being able to form a government. And here's some comments from one of the 3 generals, Prawit Wongsuwon's, his former aide. An aide to outgoing Deputy PM General Prawit Wongsuwon, who has been very quiet since the election, believes the Move Forward Party will fail in its attempt to form a coalition government and will instead be left out cold on the opposition bench. He said in a Facebook comment yesterday that the Move Forward-led coalition would flop as it would not win the 376 votes required for its leader Pita to become Prime Minister. So he takes us through what he thinks is going to happen. Once Move Forward fails, the second party with the highest number of MPs, that's Pheu Thai, will get to form a coalition. Pheu Thai, he said, will then bring in Prawit's Palang Pracharat Party, which was the leaders in the previous coalition, to replace Move Forward in the 8-party partnership currently formed. Not sure what the other 7 parties think about that, and this formula will win the Per Thai-led coalition enough support from senators to elect a premier of their choice. Prawit is one of the 2 generals who appointed most of the 250 senators. He's also a numbers guy, and he'd be spending a lot of time on the telephone at the moment counting numbers. And the other general, of course, was PM Prayut Chan-o-cha, who led the 2014 coup. And he was the army chief at the time. And they engineered the 2017 constitution to make sure that those senators would have some sort of hold over the future governments elected in Thailand. And that seems to be exactly what's happening. TNT on a Tuesday morning. Hope you're having a great day. Please subscribe to the channel if you get a chance. And just when you thought things were perhaps settling down, getting back to normal, no, I'm sorry, the world is completely insane. Like this story. Phuket Governor orders investigation over underwater painting. And there it is, an oil painting apparently done by a diver underwater. Very clever, because of course the oil paints wouldn't mix with the water, and they end up, of course, on the canvas, just as you can see there. But the Phuket Governor has ordered an investigation after photos of a diver painting underwater in social media caused concern over possible coral and marine damage. The Phuket Governor told the Phuket Express, oh yes, I should have mentioned, the PhuketExpress.com is where this story comes from, said that photos that went viral on social media are claiming that it happened in Phuket. Officials from the Phuket Natural and Environment Resources Department are checking where exactly the incident took place. If the incident was in Phuket, officials will take legal action against the diving company and the painter. Because, of course, all that pollution that gets pumped into the canals that end up in the seas around Phuket, that doesn't cause any environmental damage at all. And finally, this story from coconuts.co, the Bangkok edition. Chonky kitty survives fall from 6th floor, breaking car's window on impact. Now, just before I get to this story, I should mention that my back window on my Honda exploded about 2 days ago. I was just sitting in the car, just about to start it up, and the window just went bang, a huge bang, and then just started to shatter, and it's sort of sitting in place but all shattered now, you can't see through it. Nothing happened, nothing hit it, nothing fell on it, the car wasn't moving at the time. It was a bit worrying. The insurance company said, oh no, we can't cover that. Anyway, on to this story, and the owner of a red MG sedan whose window was smashed by a chonky cat that fell from the 6th floor of a Bangkok condo says the kitty somehow did not sustain any severe injuries. Shifu, the cat, only suffered 2 broken nails after falling from the 6th floor of their Bangkok condominium and falling onto the sedan, according to the vehicle's owner. Shifu, who reportedly weighs 8.5 kilograms, that is a chonky cat indeed, was found relatively unharmed on Saturday morning following his fall. The condominium manager said that CCTV footage showed the fat cat falling from the 6th floor and landing on the 3rd floor before falling again onto the vehicle below. Shards of glass could be seen everywhere, while Shifu was found underneath the car, looking clueless and innocent post-accident. So the cat's okay, but there is a sting in the tail of this story. The condo manager, identified as Orasa, said the condo has a no pets policy and charged the owner 1,000 baht for violating it. So not sure about the future of Shifu the cat at that particular condo, and a bit of an expensive fix-up for that rear window. I got quoted, hang on, 7,900 baht to replace the back window in my car. There you go. So thanks for watching today. Hopefully you're more up to date with things happening around Thailand, and we'll be back again with another edition tomorrow.